Going to be talking about McCartney 2 today. So, hello and yes, welcome back to another album review, guys. Today, as I say, we're going to be going over McCartney 2. Why? Because I know a lot of people are going to be saying, you've done like 4 McCartney reviews in a row when just looking at the Beatles solo. And I'm well overdue for another Lennon or George Harrison review. So, why haven't I done a review for them? Why am I doing another McCartney one? Because I've been going in chronological order with McCartney. So we started with McCartney, we done Ram, we done Wildlife, we done Red Rose, blah, 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 blah. We go all the way to Back to the Egg, and then Egypt Station come out. So I wanted to review that, because it's a brand new album, it was very exciting, everyone was talking about it. So I went out my chronological order for that one particular album, but now I just wanted to show, I'm going to go back, and we're going to continue with the chronological order, because I've been enjoying it. I've really been enjoying doing these McCartney reviews. I really like going in order, it's fun, it's very exciting. And on my the early days of me here on YouTube, I spoke a lot about McCartney's recent career, especially when New got released, because that was such an important album to me. So it's nice to go back and visit the old stuff, because I haven't really talked about many of these albums in great detail here on the channel before, including this one. Some of these album reviews are redos, because when I was younger making videos here, I didn't quite put as much thought into them, and they were a little bit more biased because the Beatles were one of the only bands I listened to. Whereas now I've expanded, and I feel like I understand music a lot better than I did then. So it's nice to revisit a lot of albums, like London Town I'd reviewed before, so I've reviewed that twice now on the channel. But this album I've actually never reviewed. This is the first time. I was always very nervous to review this album, because it's so experimental, creative and different. It's wacky, it's a weird album. But nevertheless, continuing on with the chronological order, we are going to give it a bash today. And I'm very excited to do it, because I am a big fan of this album. As we'll see why. But nevertheless, in this review, I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to give you a bit of information on the album. We're going to go over each track individually, marking each track individually out of 10 while we go through them. I'm going to show you my copy of the vinyl record. This is an original UK press. We're going to mark the artwork out of 10 as well, because the artwork is always, it's part of the album. Then we're going to add up all the scores given. So I think there's 11 songs, plus the 12th mark for the album artwork. Divided by 12, the total number given by the scores. Come on, camera, don't go out of focus. And that will give us an overall marking for this album out of 10. No album ranking board back today, guys, because I still just haven't found any software that can replicate my album ranking board that I have. But nevertheless, should we crack on with this review? So here we go. This is McCartney 2. This is his 10th studio album release since he left the Beatles. His second in his name, because I know a lot of people are going to say third, because you have McCartney, Ram, then this one. But Ram was under Paul and Linda McCartney. So this is only the second one under Paul's name since the breakup of the Beatles. Called it McCartney 2 because he very much come back to the same style of album making that he used on the first McCartney album, where it was all about 95% just him. You know, very similar in terms of how this album was made. It was released on the 16th of May 1980. It hit number 1 in the UK and hit number 3 in the US. So it done very well, very, very well, which I'm sure Paul's very happy about, because Back to the Egg, I think, underperformed a bit for McCartney in the 70s, a bit, and there weren't no big hits off it either, whereas this album did provide a big hit with Coming Up, which hit number 2 in the UK. So most of the album was recorded in 1979, just before Wings broke up. He took home this 16-track machine with a couple of mics, and basically just put these mics around the house to try and get the best sound possible. Apparently he had a lot of mics in the kitchen, got a lot of good sounds in the kitchen. And the drums, a lot of it was recorded in the bog, in the loo, in the toilet. Which is funny, because when he did his carpool karaoke with James Corden, he actually revisited that. So it's cool, he got more of an echo effect in there. I don't think it's about the room, I think it's more about the echo effect, the size of the room, and the emptiness of it. But anyway, of course, the toilet, was very empty, I suppose. He just had his toilet seat in there, so he got some very good sounds in there. Big change from McCartney in sound. This is a very, very 80s album. It's funny, a lot of artists started to get into that 80s sound in the late 70s. You could tell that the music was slowly gonna, you know, progress into that 80s classic sound. McCartney didn't really get there, I don't think, on London Town or Back to the Egg, but it's funny, as soon as you hit 1980 with this album, bam, he's there. There's a lot of synthesizers going on here. It's great. It sounds really cool. And, you know, it's cool. It's nice that McCartney took to the 80s quite well. Unfortunately, it wouldn't last very long, because the 80s is, without a doubt, McCartney's weakest decade. So it's a shame. But nevertheless, he started the 80s well with this album and the next one. So anyway, as I say, I believe there's 11 tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. So, should we get started? So, of course, first one up is Coming Up. This was the big single. This hit number 2 in the UK. I'm pretty sure nearly everyone and their mum knows this song. It's a fantastic song. So, with the record, there's an interesting thing about this. A lot of the albums come with a live version, the Canadian live version, which is pretty cool. So, a lot of people actually got 2 versions of the song, which is cool. It's the best song on here, probably. So, it's nice that you got 2 versions of the really good song. Lennon really liked this song. He actually stuck up for it in the public when some critics were bashing it a bit. And it also inspired Lennon to get back in the studio to record his final album released while he was alive, Double Fantasy. So that's really cool. So maybe without this song, we would have got less Lennon material, maybe. So that's quite interesting, I think. But nevertheless, this song is just amazing. There's not much I can say about it, because I think everyone knows it. I don't know what I can add to this song that hasn't been said before. I love the sped up horns. They sound fantastic. They're catchy. It's great. I don't know if that had ever been done on I mean, horns have been sped up before, obviously, on tracks, but not to the extent that they were on this song, as in their dominance on the track, which I thought was very good, very good. The guitar is catchy. I love it. It's great. Paul's vocals, I love the effect on them. They're just incredible. Also, I want to add, this song has an amazing music video where Paul dresses up as all of his favourite icons. Dressed up as Buddy Holly. He dressed up as himself in the 60s, the early 60s, when the Beatles were probably at their height of popularity in America. But yeah, there's nothing to dislike about this song. I really can't criticise it at all. Maybe there's a bit of biasness in me, because I grew up listening to McCartney's hits, and of course this was on there. So there might be a bit of biasness in this answer, but I am going to give it a 10 out of 10. It is a perfect song in my opinion. Considering this is pretty much all done by one guy. This is just Paul. It's incredible. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for Coming Up. Great song. Then we got Temporary Sectarian. Before I talk about this song, I just want to add a fun little fact about this one. I was amongst the first people to see the song performed live when I went to see Paul McCartney in 2015. He done this song for the first time live, and then he also done Hope for the Future for the first time live. So that's amazing. And then he brought Dave Grohl out, which was even better. But nevertheless, it was, yeah, I have a soft spot for this song, because I'm kind of like, yeah, I saw this live first. This is great. I've got a great little story for this song. But nevertheless, let's get on to the song itself. Paul has said that this is a song where he's just trying to be funny, and it's just basically about a man who wants a disposable secretary. Paul just wanted to have fun with the lyrics, and again, I'll stress this, the lyrics on this album, none of them really mean anything. They're all just Paul mucking about, which I love. And the thing is, the lyrics are actually really good on this song. They flow well, they all match well, they all make sense, they're great, and it is funny. He nails it. He nails exactly what he was going for. It's great. Some people find this song annoying, because of the I think it's great. It sets this song apart from all the others. It makes it unique. It's memorable, not just on this album, out of the whole of McCartney's career. I mean, I just don't really know what to say about it. It's kind of become a cult classic over time as well. You know, people really, really like this song now. I don't think it was ever one of the most popular by any means, but over time it has become just that, because of its uniqueness and how clever it actually is. And on first listen, a lot of people do brush this song off as fluff, but it is certainly not that. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. This is a very, very solid song. And we got a track called On The Way, which, in my opinion, is the only... It's still a good song. This is a good song, but it's the weakest one on side one for me. So the guitar intro is really cool. The echo effect on Paul's vocals is great. It suits this song so well. I just can't believe that so much thought went into these Wings albums that come before it. And this was kind of a muckabout album. And how much better this is sounding already. Don't get me wrong, I really like Back to the Egg and London Town. They're both very good albums. But the improvement in creativeness is just astonishing. And it's just Paul mucking about. The drums sound great as well. The guitar solo is awesome. Really cool. It's very cool that we got a guitar solo on here. Yeah, it's a very good song. It doesn't quite have the uniqueness that the first two songs have, but it's still very good. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Then we got Waffles, which is a much slower, more traditional sounding Paul song. You got one traditional Paul song on here, and it's the closing song, One of These Days. But this is as close to that as we get. This still isn't full traditional Paul, because there's still a couple bits on it which sound a bit, just different. There's something about this album. But anyway, the keyboard is great. I love McCartney's vocals. The lyrics are also great to listen to. If you listen to them, there's just a lot of stuff going on here. It's hard to believe that these will come up with on the spot. These songs will all come up with on the spot, yet you listen to his lyrics from his latest album, Egypt Station, and apparently he was working on them for a while. These are far superior. Don't get it. But anyway, and the acoustic adds to the song so nicely. In the second verse, you get this acoustic come in. It just builds the song. It adds so much more to it. It's a beautiful song to listen to. There's not much criticism I can give this song either. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Very good song. Then we got a much nicer upbeat song called Nobody Knows, which is very much needed after Waffles. Again, song placement, really good here on this album. Really different vocals again from Paul. Really like them. Again, silly but fun lyrics to listen to. The lyrics are silly throughout nearly all of this album, but if you listen to them, they're good. They make sense. They work well together. Nobody Knows is a fun time. Lot of stuff going on it. I enjoy it. It's a 8 out of 10 for that song. And then we're going to move on to side 2, where we get the first of 2 instrumental tracks. This one is called Front Parlour, which has a good sound to it. It's mostly carried nicely by this flute sound, which I'm guessing is being done on the keyboard, because as far as I know, Paul doesn't play flute. But it sounds really nice. I love it. I wish that the tempo on the keyboard, or whatever the background sound is, it's got to come from a keyboard, surely. I wish that evolved a bit, done a bit more. Because really, if you take the flute out of it, it's a very generic instrumental, very generic. It's a very good sound, but I like instrumentals to change and to do something, whereas this just doesn't do anything. But the flute sounds really nice. It's a very nice background song. Can't lie. I never skip this song. It is, when I've got the album on, I just leave it on in the background. I normally go up and do something when this song comes on, but I never turn it off. It's good. It's refreshing, I think. It's a refreshing sound, this song. Very refreshing. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Then we got Summer's Day song, which is a slower song, which some more normal McCartney vocals. I think this is the most normal McCartney sounded so far on the album. However, his vocals actually are not as good on this song. And I'm not saying that I prefer it when Paul does different styles of singing. I'm not saying that. Just he struggles a little bit to hit a couple notes or a couple lines, words on this song. But it's not a criticism, because it still works well. It sounds nice. Yeah, it's a bit of a bore sometimes, this song. This song is potentially the weakest one on there for me. However, there are times where it's just a delight as well to listen to. It depends what mood you catch me in, I think, with this song. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 as well. It's not a bad song, but it's the weakest, definitely, of the ones that Paul sings on. And then we've got the next instrumental, Frozen Jap, which relies on a drum beat throughout the whole song, and the keyboard does all the work. And again, it's the same problem as Front Parlour, where the background is just exactly the same, and we're just relying on one instrument over the top to do all the work. Don't get me wrong, the keyboards sound great. I love what they're doing. Again, exact same thing as Front Parlour. I could quite happily keep this on in the background because it does its job. It's great background music. It's unique. It's refreshing. And I think that's the best word to describe these instrumentals, refreshing. But it is what it is. It picks up a bit in the middle, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10 as well. So as we can see, side 2 has dropped a little bit. However, picking up now, bogey music. It's as silly as it sounds, but I love it. A very silly song, but for what it is fun. The effect on Paul's vocals is great. I love it. I think it's so funny. Love the backing vocals. They're fantastic. The guitar works great as well throughout it. It is what it is. I enjoy it. 7 out of 10. Then we got Dark Room, which the start of it is amazing. And again, the vocals with the effect just sound great. I love it. It is what it is, but I really enjoy it. The chorus is fun. I love all the noises in the background. I mean, if you pay attention, Paul's got all these weird little noises going on in the background. I think there's some birds at one point. There's just so much going on in this song. It's incredible to think he was just messing about here. It's so creative, this song. It really is. If you sit there and really listen to all the stuff going on in the background, you can pick so much up. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Really, really creative there, that song. And then we got One of These Days, which I think is Paul like, okay, just in case people don't like the album, here's a normal McCartney song. And this one's brilliant. It's a brilliant song. Very traditional. Beautiful raw vocals. I'm going to say raw because I don't think there's any effect on these ones. Maybe a slight echo, but that's it. The acoustic guitar sounds fantastic. I love the build and the structure to this song. And his own backing vocals are great too. I'm going to give this song a 9 out of 10. Fantastic. So as you can see, I very much like this album. The start of side 2 is a bit weak, but it picks back up and gets us back to what side 1 was. But nevertheless, let's take a look at the album cover. I love this cover. I know it is simple and there is nothing to it, but I just love it because it's so memorable. It's just, I don't know, I really love this cover. It's great. And then there is the back. And then here is the gatefold, which I really like. I could never tell what this is. So we got some pictures of Paul down there, which I'm not going to lie, are pretty awful. But is this like a swimming pool? And he's standing on the side of it. It's one of those above ground swimming pools. Is that what it is? I'm thinking that's what it is. But it's so cool because you've got the sea behind him. Then you've got obviously a pool. Or maybe it's a big pond. And you just can't. I don't know. But I love the inside. And you actually get a picture in a sleeve, which is nice. I love that picture. You got some lyrics there. Then of course the record label. It's on your traditional parlophone. So yeah, this is my original 1980. I have the remastered copy there and a CD. I don't have the archive box for this. It's funny, I bought all of the archives up to Tug of War and Pipes of Peace, and then I gave up. Like the box sets, because they just got too expensive. But the only one I skipped was this for some reason. I can't remember why, but yeah, it's a shame because I really like this album. So yeah, I added up all of the scores given. The album artwork is going to get a 9, by the way. I really like the artwork. It's a great cover. And out of 10, this album is going to get a 7.8. So it's a 7.8 for McCartney 2. Great album, guys. Pick it up. I mean, I don't know why people don't talk about that one as much in the McCartney world. It's weird. But I love it. I think it's a great album. It's and I do like Back to the Egg and London Town, but I think it actually is it's because I think he was trying to be very creative on both of those albums, and he was at times. But I feel like actually with not even trying as much, he actually done it better on this album. But there you go. That is just my opinion as always, guys. Let me know in the comments below what your opinion of this album is. And yeah, like the video and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye bye.